Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our seminar, our crew investing seminar this week. We've got a great seminar for you. It's how to evaluate an offer on rental properties. We haven't done this seminar in probably a couple of years, and we found that there's a real need for it because with interest rates climbing, with prices climbing here in Calgary, the way you evaluate the property to make sure that you're going to cash flow is very, very important.
Yeah, and it saves you a bunch of time out there evaluating on properties that you may not be able to get or afford. So it is perfect. We do it every couple of years just so everybody understands the process. But before we get started, we do this every seminar, and it is our crew investment tip of the week. And this week's tip is 7 reasons to invest in Calgary right now.
And the first reason to invest in Calgary right now is that our market is going up. You may see that other markets across Canada and the United States are starting to fall. They're starting to, some of them really going into free fall, but Calgary's market is going up. We will actually go over the numbers in a little while, but since the beginning of the year, we haven't seen a drop. Our market is actually going up.
Yeah, so that is the number one reason. Number 2 is rents are up. We can't even keep Tim up to date of where rents are at. Like, we can't even believe what you're looking at, a 1-bedroom condo today, what they rent for, 2-bedroom condos, single family houses, suite of properties. The rents are through the roof, and we're not saying to go out and gouge people. We tell people that all the time. You're better off having a good tenant that will look after your property like it's their own. But rents are crazy. So that is the second reason.
Yeah, as just a quick example, I was with some clients yesterday. We were looking at a suite half duplex. They own another suite half duplex. They're getting $2,200 for the main floor on their suite duplex. On the basement, they're getting $1,600. Those are phenomenal rents. We've never seen those in Calgary before.
Yeah. So we don't know where it's going, but it hasn't stopped, and people are lining up to rent here. The third reason is inventory is super low. For example, we normally have roughly 5,000 to 6,000 listings on the market at this time, and right now we have just over 2,000 listings. So with inventory so low, what happens there is prices will continue to go up, and we don't even know when this is going to stop because we're so far behind Tim on the inventory.
Yeah, and we haven't seen inventory this low in 10, 12, even 15 years. Actually, I heard it was since the 90s, like the early 90s. That's crazy. So you have to be prepared, when you're going to buy a rental property, to pull the trigger pretty quickly. We'll go through that as well in a little bit. The fourth reason why it's a good time to invest in Calgary right now is our population is increasing.
Yeah, and we're seeing people moving from BC. We're seeing them move from Ontario. We actually just did a deal for someone who, I think Charles, he said he was Turkish and his wife is from Ukraine. And we just did them a deal last week where they trusted us. They've been watching our YouTube videos. They trusted us enough to actually pick and secure a property without them seeing it. And they flew in on Saturday, spent the day here. We spent a few hours with them, and they just couldn't believe the value that they're getting. Tim, they bought a $410,000 half duplex, no condo fees, in Mackenzie Town, and they're living in a shoebox in Vancouver that they've got on the market right now. And the quality of life, they're so excited just to move from Vancouver here to Calgary and move into,
a place with a yard and close to parks and it's close to schools and that. They're in a place in Burnaby. It's a 4-story wooden walk up, and they're just not having fun there. Yeah,
they don't like the building. They just want to get out. And you know what else is happening in BC? I'll just quickly touch on this. I know it's the investment tip of the week. They did, and this is what Charles said, they came out with this new law where people can use drugs there. And that scared the hell out of them. They're like, we can work anywhere. We work remotely on our computers, and why live here? And so just one little thing like that has forced them to come to Calgary and for a better life. So number 5, Tim, buying costs are low. You could talk about the cost associated to buying real estate in Ontario.
In Alberta, we don't have a land transfer tax. Basically, when you do buy a property, you're looking at property inspection and your lawyer fees. Sometimes if you buy a condo, you're looking at a condominium document inspection, but those three costs included come in under $4,000.
Yeah.
And if you compare that to a land transfer tax, say in the city of Toronto, which is very, very huge, and the buyer is responsible for that tax.
Yeah.
We don't have any of that. Our costs to actually purchase the property are very, very low.
Yeah, and the sixth reason is we're landlord friendly here. We've got investors that own in Manitoba, in BC, and they're selling right now because interest rates have gone up, but they have rent controls. So they can't even raise the rents like we are here in Alberta, raising the rent to keep up with the interest rate so it doesn't hit our back pocket. So we are super landlord friendly. It doesn't take that long if a tenant isn't paying to get them out. It actually, Tim, takes 14 days that you can put your notice on the door and they have to vacate. So we're super landlord friendly, and that really helps as an investor.
Yeah, and the final reason why it's really good to invest in Calgary right now is cash flows are very, very high right now. That's a product of our high rents and our low prices. Every property that we buy our investors here in Calgary, we strive to have it cash flow. We don't accept anything subpar than that. You have to cash flow if you're buying with us.
Yeah, and if this is your first investment tip of the week and you missed a bunch, you know what? You can actually subscribe below. I'll put it in the chat so you can get free tips every week. We put them on. I hope you liked our investment tip of the week.